to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Glenn.
Here.
Mr. Robinson.
Here.
Mr. Renner.
Here.
I'd like to move to have a motion to approve the expenditures from September through October 19th.
I make a motion to approve as presented.
I'll second.
I'm sorry.
Trustee Glenn.
Yes.
Trustee Renner.
Yes.
Trustee Robinson.
Yes.
Also, I move to make a motion to approve the minutes from September also.
I will make a motion that we also approve the minutes from September's meeting.
Second. Sorry.
Trustee Glenn.
Yes.
Trustee Renner.
Yes.
Trustee Robinson.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Taylor? Ready? Oh, you want?
I can go whenever you guys like.
Would you go? Is this what Mike was talking about? Is something different?
No,
This is what he's referring to.
This is
Okay.
the resource, if you wanna do it, we'd have
No, I'm
to.
sorry.
Oh, we'd be going out of order on the agenda, so if you wanted to move the presentation up, or if you wanted to go through the reports first, it's up to you.
Yeah, so Mr. Johnson's from the Hamilton County Environmental Services, we'll just go with your presentation now, sir, if you wanna come on up.
Absolutely, thank you.
Mike, thank you.
Well, while he's doing that, I don't think this is working. Can everybody hear me okay though? Okay, great. So I'm the guy that's here to talk about solid waste at 7 p.m. I apologize for that. But it's actually required. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'm Brad Johnson. I'm the director of Hamilton County Department of Environmental Services. I've been with the county 15 years. I was with public health the first 12 years. So I've been in this community quite often. So just to give you a quick idea of what environmental services is, we actually are two agencies. We're the Southwest Ohio Air Quality Agency. So we actually extend out beyond just Hamilton County for that. We do 5 counties here in Southwest Ohio, and we do everything for air quality that Ohio EPA does. We essentially are the subcontractor for Ohio EPA. I'm here though tonight for Hamilton County Resource, which was formerly Hamilton County Recycling and Solid Waste District. And the role that they have is that they are required by law. They were formed back in the late 1980s to reduce the amount of waste going into our landfills. They realized, the state of Ohio realized that we had a lot of issues with our landfills, the capacity getting much smaller. So what that did, that really implemented a lot of recycling initiatives, and then we have goals and things that we have to do. So one of the things that, the biggest thing that Resource does is the plan. So the plan is a 15-year plan, and it gets updated every 5 years. And believe it or not, it takes about 2 years to write these plans. They're about 300 pages. Then it goes through a review process with Ohio EPA, and then from that point, they give us the comments back, and then we make those changes, and then we put it out for ratification, and that's where the communities come in. So thank you for having me, trustees and the administration. So what I'm here today to do is just to give you a very, very quick summary of that plan. And this is a discussion, so if you have questions, don't hesitate to interrupt me. I don't know, was he able to get that PowerPoint up? If not, I can pull up hard copies. He's working on it now. I'll tell you what, I'll give you hard copies anyway, and that way you can look at that while he's working on it.
Put the remote down there.
If anybody from the audience, I don't have enough for everybody, but if you do want one, I'll put them right here. Okay, so for the first slide, it's just, actually the first 2 slides, we've already talked about. That just tells you what Hamilton County Resource does, what the mission is. Yeah, really nothing else to say there. But I do, before I go into the actual plan itself, I did want to kind of remind you of some of the programs that you might be aware of that we do in your communities. One of the biggest ones that benefits you directly are our grant programs. So we have a lot of grants for businesses, for communities, but the biggest one that has been in place since we formed back in the late 80s is what's called the residential recycling incentive. We're the only agency, because every county is required to have a district. We're the only district that actually does this. So what we do, our money, our revenue comes in what's called a tipping fee. So every ton that goes across Rumpke's scales, if it's in Hamilton County, we get $1 for that. So that's how we're funded. So part of what we do is we wanted to seed programs to allow the communities to take that money and implement your own promotions for, say, recycling and other initiatives. And we base that off of your numbers. So the more you're able to divert waste from going to the landfill, the more money that comes back to you. So that's one of the programs that we do. We also do a lot of the outreach programs. So when you see television commercials or you see other initiatives trying to help people with what they can recycle, we're the agency that does that as well. So you probably see a lot of that. The other big thing that we started in 2018 was we realized, even though this is a non-regulatory agency, Hamilton County Resource, we realized that there was a lack on the enforcement side. So an example would be in your community, you might have some open dumping areas where residents go out and they dump in an area chronically. So now we have a deputy sheriff, Brian Peak, who goes out and actually does enforcement for those areas. He'll identify them, take them to court, they get fined, and that process has been working very, very well. So we have that too. And then we also have the drop-off program. So you're probably familiar, Kaluga had it for the longest time, where you can take your yard waste, drop those off throughout the year. Now it's, I'm trying to think of the elementary school that it's at. Thank you. So we have it there on the west side, and then we also have other drop-off events. Like this weekend, we have a household hazardous waste drop-off on the west side. Actually, not too far from here.
Cross the church.
Got it, thank you. So I'm glad to hear you guys are already aware of that. So those are some of the programs we do, but I did want to kind of highlight the plan itself. And again, it's 300 pages, so I just want to hit like 3 or 4 things, and if you have questions, let me know. And it's on our website, so if you actually want to see the draft or if the public wants to take a look at it, it's available out there. It is a very strenuous process. Part of it was going out to the public and getting comments. So we're past that part, but that's not to say if something major were to come in, we can still make changes to the plan. In fact, one of those changes we're working on right now, I wanted to bring to your attention, is I talked about fees. So we don't want to raise fees in Hamilton County. We don't want our residents to suffer from that, but we have a policy committee that is exploring the option of raising out-of-district fees. So Butler County and Warren County, a lot of their waste comes into Hamilton County at Rumpke. We're exploring the option of maybe raising that fee to where we could even do more programs here in Hamilton County. So that is something that may come out of this plan. All right, a few other things that I did want to highlight with the, let me go back a little bit with the process. So I told you it's about a 2-year process. We are about 1.5 years in right now. So the last step is going to be, once we make these final changes, there will be, we'll need to get the support of the communities. And the way that works is each local community would pass a resolution. I'll get that information over to your administration when the time comes, and we'll make sure to get that over to you. And then at that point, if you agree with it, you would approve that resolution saying that you agree with the plan. Typically, we get 100%. Last 5 years ago, we got 100% as well. So we expect that. The city of Cincinnati is required. We do need them. And then we need 60% of the communities. So I will say the city of Cincinnati is one of the drivers for the out-of-district fee, so that could come up.
When is that gonna be here? In 6 months, when it's complete?
Yes, so, good question. It will be complete probably right around the new year, and that's when the ratification process will start. We have 90 days from that, when we submit it back to Ohio EPA with the changes they recommended. And then from that point, we have 90 days, so that's when the clock will start ticking, where we would reach out to your administration and get that resolution out to you.
Okay.
Good question, though. The residential recycling incentive, I brought that up. And I also want to, there's been a lot of support for that over the years. And so the way, in time, when things are tough, it can be difficult because that extra money, we might need it for other programs. But we also realize there's times when we actually have additional revenue. So we wanted to build into the plan, if we have a good year, good in the sense of funding, we want to make sure that that money goes back out to the communities. So we have it built in now to where if we reach a revenue, a certain amount, we'll bump that up for each of the communities. So that is something to look at. The other thing we're doing with that incentive is if you're a smaller community, I would say Miami Township's, somewhat small. If you don't have high numbers, we actually will give you additional seed money to get that program going. So that's another benefit we're building into it. Another thing, we've really focused on residential, really since the program started in the late 80s. And we realized that we're really missing a great opportunity with our businesses. We've done things with the businesses, but 86% of our waste that goes to landfill right now is actually from businesses. So we're gonna really start targeting those businesses. So we're putting more money toward that to make sure they have the proper containers. So if they don't have the containers, we'll provide those for free. If they don't have the space, we'll work with the jurisdictions and things and see what we can do. So we have that built in. And then just one more quick thing I wanted to highlight with the plan, and I'll let you go unless you have questions, is diversity, equity, and inclusion. The state of Ohio doesn't require us to do this, but we realized we had a deficiency to where, I wouldn't say Miami Township so much, but in some low income areas, maybe we weren't getting, drop-off would be a great example of this. What if you don't have a car? How do you get that yard waste to those sites? So we're gonna try and figure out ways. We hired a consultant to review this plan and give us initiatives to improve on that. So we also included that in the plan this go around. So those are the big things that I wanted to bring up. If you have any questions, you've already asked a great one. I'll be happy to answer it. And the same thing, just because I'm here today, if you have questions, say next week, a month from now, just give us a call. We'll be happy to help you. Now the contact information on there, I'm the director. Michelle Baltz is the solid waste manager. Again, we have, technically there's 49 jurisdictions in Hamilton County. We do 48 because Milford is both in Claremont and Hamilton, and Claremont takes them. So we're kind of dividing and conquering and making sure we get the word out. But if you have any questions, you can always call me too.
Very good.
Okay?
Good deal. Any questions for Mr. Johnson, anyone?
Anybody want a handout or anything? I mean, I find it exciting. I'm a solid waste guy, but.
You mentioned you work with businesses. I'm just wondering, do you provide a dumpster for like recycling, or do you have anything along those lines?
Not a dumpster. We provide the container. So like when you go into a business, your blue recycling containers, it could be a Slim Jim, it could be small ones. We'll provide any of those for free. Dumpsters are tricky. Typically dumpsters we don't fund, but there are some exceptions to that, and we will work. Say they have an issue with space, they say, well, I have space for a solid waste dumpster, but I don't have space for a recycling container. We'll work with the necessary parties to assist them.
What I'm trying to get at is I have a business, it's a flea market, and we have 2 8-yard dumpsters that are dumped twice a week during the season.
Yep.
There's a lot of stuff. It's like the last stop for most of the stuff. But I just didn't know if that would be a fit for anything.
It could be.
Yeah.
I'll give you one of these. Give us a call. Give Michelle a call, and we can come out and do evaluation and maybe help you out. But her information is the last page here. Right there. Okay. I appreciate you speaking up. We'll be happy to help you if we can. Because there are some legal issues too, where things that we can't do, but anything within our control will help you out. Anything else?
Any other questions? I think that's it. Thank you.
Well, thank you for